Hello, 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 everyone. You read the title. You know what we think about Black Adam. I'm going to start really quick because I want to get something off my chest before we actually talk about the movie, because this kind of video is going to draw a certain type of person. And I want to talk to that person really quick, if that's okay with you. And if you have anything else you want to say about this specific topic, chime in, obviously.
Can I guess the kind of person that you're talking about, though?
I mean, you already know. We only talk negatively about one type of person, and they're hogs.
Okay, yeah.
Although this is the type of hog who only watches superhero movies, which covers a wide base of hogs. So there seems to be an uproar about the critical reception to Black Adam. I want to let you guys know that the critics are right about Black Adam, okay? It's okay. I've seen some really bad tweets about this movie, and people basically coping about the negative reception that Black Adam has, at least critically. I want to tell you something about critics, okay? It is literally their job to watch movies. They love movies so much, they decided to make it their job to watch basically every single movie that comes out within a given year, okay? You do not do that. You watch maybe 50 movies a year, which is nothing.
Not even.
And it's funny because these people will pretend that they don't care about critics when they clearly do, because whenever a film that they like or that they are anticipating to like before they've even watched the fucking movie, whenever that film has a high Rotten Tomato score, they'll go apeshit. They'll be like, look, it has a 90%. That means my movie's good and your movie's bad.
Yeah.
And it's basically sports. These people treat it like sports because they're fucking hogs. They treat the fact that they like a film compared to other films like sports. They treat the brands within these given hog type movies like sports too. And this is like the modern version of the console wars, because no one gives a fuck about that shit anymore. It's pathetic, basically. You guys live a pathetic existence. My thesis here is that you only care about critic reception when it suits your interest, and that's it. You are allowed to like the movies that you like, but I just want to let you know that no one is going to take you seriously as a person with an opinion about a movie if this shit is the only thing that you watch. That is it, period.
Not just watch, but like live and breathe. These superhero movies are people's lives, and it's kind of getting annoying at this point because like there are other things out there that are that are better than what's being spewed out by these companies today. I'm definitely like a hog myself.
Yeah, you are
I'm definitely a hog myself. I love superhero movies, but like at this point it's just getting ridiculous. I can't do this anymore.
I'm gonna turn you over to the dark side.
That's fine. I'm gonna be watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire every day.
You should.
I still have to see that movie. My friend said that he saw your review for it like a couple years ago or whenever it came out, and he was like, oh, I should watch that. And he was like, wow, that changed my life.
Good. Again, do not look up anything about it. Don't look up trailers or anything like that. Just go in and fucking cry your eyes out. Okay, anyway, let's talk about a real movie, not that fancy art movie, whatever.
This movie lacks a soul. When I finished this movie, I thought to myself that Dwayne The Rock Johnson watched 10 years of superhero movies and said to himself, I can do that, but made it in the most generic, cartoonish way possible. It's kind of like the worst, to be honest.
It's just the movies that he makes with a superhero filter
with brand
on
recognition.
it. Yeah, because he makes these very forgettable, nothing movies that harken back to, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone prime era of schlock, but some of those movies are good. There's one major Arnold Schwarzenegger film that this film references a lot, and that's Terminator 2.
And if someone comes off to you with an attitude, you say, eat me. And if you want to shine them on, it's hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
But that movie is actually good because it was made by a real filmmaker, Jaume Collet-Serra. This guy, I've seen pretty much every single movie he's made except for one, and they are all bad with the one exception.
Which one? Orphan?
Nah.
Orphan was pretty good, I think.
Orphan's fine.
From what I remember. Jungle Cruise, The Shallows, House of Wax.
The Shallows. That's the one. The Shallows is the one that isn't awful. The rest of his filmography is embarrassing. Have you seen House of Wax?
Years ago.
It's so bad.
I don't even remember that movie. Weren't the effects good in that, or am I crazy?
I literally don't remember. It's a bad movie. Paris Hilton is one of the main characters.
I felt like the characters in this movie had like anti-character development, especially what's that group called?
The Justice
I don't
Society?
even remember. Yeah, the not Justice League, the Justice Society.
Well, they predate the Justice League.
Yeah, but do we know that? Did they say that?
No, they didn't, because they can't talk about that bad movie because brand recognition is very important to this movie. It is so important that they don't tell you what they're the Justice Society of. Do you know what
Yeah,
they're the
right?
Justice
They
Society
can't say
of?
that. I know what they're the Justice Society of, but does the audience know?
I don't know. They might be the Justice Society of a certain country, and this movie wants to be anti-imperialist so bad, but they won't call
That they
this
don't
group.
say
They don't want to call this group the Justice Society of America. They're the Justice Society of America. Just say it. It's so
That'd
weird.
be crazy though if they did say that, and then they were in this like Middle Eastern country trying to do their justice. That would be something.
Yeah, it would have almost made their point when they were
Yeah.
talking low-key about being anti-imperialist, but they're only doing it in criticism of private contracting companies. But who are these private contracting companies subsidized by? Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Huh? Do you want to answer that question, maybe? Continue.
Okay, I guess. But Atom Smasher feels like a mix between Deadpool and what's the other one? Ant-Man? That kind of set me off. I
In
was
what
kinda
way? Like visually, like his mask, or just his personality?
his mask for the Deadpool, personality for Ant-Man. Like I said before, I feel like he watched a bunch of superhero movies from the past decade and just said, I can do that, and copy-pasted everything. It was kind of lazy.
I am annoyed by Dr. Fate's inclusion in this movie. I really like Dr. Fate from the comics. I think he's cool. He's way more powerful than this movie would like you to believe. And this isn't even like a Dr. Fate who just had his powers. He's obviously
This is one who's been out for a couple years.
He's obviously at the end of his rope. We're talking spoilers. He fucking dies in this movie for literally no reason at all. His character is sort of a microcosm of all the characters in this film because they want you to care about this character a lot. And I feel like his brand recognition is doing all the heavy lifting because he's not given a whole lot to do. And the only thing he's given to do is comedic relief with the sarcasm bit that keeps happening over and over again, and to be the mediator between Black Adam and Hawkman because their fucking interaction is so repetitive and annoying. And Pierce Brosnan's just there to be fucking, you know, as charismatic as he was as James Bond. And that's all his character is. And I feel like people are going to respond to Dr. Fate's dying and say, well, you know, he saw the future and this was the only future that was possible. Sorry, that's bullshit, okay? When you have these types of characters who can either like create anything with their mind or they can see the future or whatever they see is not literally them. These people aren't real. These are fictional characters. What they are seeing and what they create or what they end up doing in response to all the futures that they see is at the limit of the imagination of the writer, okay? That's it. It's like that stupid ass debate about which superhero wins what fights. It's about the writer. That's the person who decides who wins. It's professional wrestling, okay? But Dr. Fate in this movie dies for literally no reason, and I felt nothing. I was just like, we just got this character. This is literally the first movie that he's in. Are we serious?
There's this internal struggle with Dr. Fate in the comics where it's like the person wearing the helmet does not really want to be Dr. Fate, but Kent Nelson and Nabu usually are at odds with each other in the helmet and stuff. And I didn't really get that. I felt like they were on the same page. And Nabu wasn't really like even in this movie. They didn't mention him at all. I was kind of like, okay, I guess there's nothing to this character at all, which was really strange. I thought they should have brought that up since he's a very popular character.
Well, you didn't read issue number 300, blah, 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 where they are on the same page. Dr. Fate was a giant disappointment to me. I know people like him and they want to see a solo project, but it doesn't fucking matter now because he's dead. It doesn't matter.
How did Hawkman get his powers at the end or something like that without putting on the helmet?
How did Hawkman get...
He was just...
Oh, yeah, like he touched the
Remember
helmet.
he like made multiple of himself? He was like, I learned how to do this before. I was like, what? Where did this come from?
Random as fuck. There are ideas here. This isn't the worst movie in the world. It's not. It's not even the worst movie this year. But there's like a baseline of character development, but there isn't anything beyond that. It's so paper thin that even going back to the Hawkman and Black Adam stuff, it's so repetitive. And even when it evolves, they turn it into a comedic thing, but they go back right to the adversarial stuff and they do it like 2 or 3 times after that. And it's fucking tiring. This is the worst week they could have chose to use a Kanye West song. That's all I'm going to say. The second I heard Power, I was like, oh, brother. They did. I guess they didn't have time to, I guess they didn't have time to change this.
I just feel like I know you. You know what I'm saying?
Because I'm savage.
You're a savage.
I'm savage.
Classic.
All right, I gotta go with Eye of the Tiger, too.
There we
Eye
go.
of the Tiger. Eye of the Tiger.
Boom.
Let's talk about Black Adam himself, because we haven't really talked about the title character.
Okay, cool. The character who's out of this movie for a lot of it.
Yeah, basically. Did he feel like Drax to you a little bit?
Yeah.
Did you get that vibe? Like, he felt very jokey.
I wasn't even thinking about Drax, but yeah, now that you're saying it, without the laughter whenever he does something that he thinks is funny. But he does the very like serious, no sense of irony thing that Drax does in the Guardians movies.
Mm-hmm.
But even The Rock as a performer here just falls short for me. Like, all he does is furrow his brow.
Shout out Gal Gadot.
Literally Gal Gadot acting. But Dwayne has more charisma than she does. So it's like, why? And I think part of it has to do, again, with his brand as this tough guy. I'm not even talking about Black Adam, the character, because it's not like this character doesn't have any emotions. In the story itself that they're trying to convey to the audience, they want it to be emotional. So it's not even like, oh, he's not supposed to be blah, blah, blah. His child literally dies, and it's supposed to be this whole thing. And his facial reaction is just fucking nothing. And whenever the past is brought up, there's just nothing there behind the eyes. I literally don't know what he's thinking or feeling at any moment, and not in a good way. Not in a, Rosamund Pike and Gone Girl type way. He has his moments, though, when it comes to being comedic or tough guy, but like, there's no vulnerability, and that's the missing ingredient for this performance, because there is room for that in the character's story and in the scenes that they shot for this character. It's there, but he doesn't deliver at all. And it's kind of weird, because as someone who was in professional wrestling and who had to wrestle for like 6 years with fucking the tighty whitey trunks, you'd think that someone who did that in front of crowds of 20,000 people would be okay with being more vulnerable. No, obviously not. It's weird. I don't understand why The Rock can't just act in movies. He's not acting. There's nothing there. Anyway, you go.
Did you see there was a tweet a couple weeks ago about The Rock and like a bunch of executives at Warner Brothers watching the movie, and they were watching it in like an office or something like that? Someone retweeted the tweet and was like, this says a lot about the movie that they're not watching it like on the big screen and they're watching it in an office. It feels like a product. And I was like, yeah, I feel that.
It's like a commercial. I mean, it is a commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw this in IMAX, and very nauseating. We'll get to the visuals in a second.
Ooh, that editing? Oh my gosh.
We'll get to it.
Okay, keep going.
My audience reacted only for one of the sarcasm jokes and Superman, and that's it. Okay, that is it. This is an advertisement for a future movie. They're not talking about the character development. All they're talking about is wanting to see characters that appear in this movie and other shit. They're like, I want to see a Hawkman movie. I want to see a Dr. Fate movie. I can't wait to see Black Adam versus Superman. I can't wait to see Man of Steel 2. Superman this, Superman that. Like, that's it. So, I mean, if nobody's talking about anything else, then obviously this movie didn't have a whole lot to give in the first place.
With the Superman thing really quick, why are people super excited to see that when it's like the Justice League Superman? Isn't that the one that we hate? Because they didn't play the Man of Steel theme. They played the John Williams theme when he showed up. He wasn't wearing the black suit like in the Snyder Cut. So it's definitely not the same Superman from that movie, I don't think. Right?
When I heard the John Williams theme, I was like, oh, brother.
People clapped at that, but then in 2017, people hated it. I don't understand. It was weird.
Well, in 2017, a lot of people couldn't hear it because that and the Tim Burton theme were so buried in the mix that you could barely hear it. I don't know what else to say about the cameo because it's an ad. One more thing about that. That Soups video, did you see it?
No. Of him coming out of the theater like dead
No,
or
no, no,
something?
no. He recorded himself in the theater. There was someone next to him with a flash on his face so you can see his face for the lighting. And he basically stood up and was like screaming and like throwing his fists. And it was so fucking performative and gross. I think that kid is so pathetic. I really do. He's obviously young. You can see it on his face. He's a child. But I don't know what his deal is. Obviously, he cares a lot about superhero shit. But this is so obviously a performance for clout and internet engagement. And, you know, we're not strangers of poking the bear because we do that too. I mean, everyone does it. But we're not filming ourselves in a fucking movie theater where you're supposed to be quiet and watching the thing that's on the screen. And we're not making it about ourselves. You're not that excited. Everything that you do, that you document yourself doing and posting on social media or anything is a performance.
Yeah, basically.
And you can't get away from that. Like even our commentaries that we do, that's all a performance. It literally is. And I'll admit to that, but like the things that we say out loud, those are the things that we internalize in our heads when we're watching something. We just have the self-control not to say it when we're in a fucking movie theater. So yeah, I just thought watching that on Twitter made me want to kill myself. Let's continue.
What's next? We can talk about the editing now. There's this one sequence with the mom and the Justice Society, and it goes like back and forth and back and forth. Maybe I want to say like 30 times in a matter of 20 seconds, and I wanted to throw up. Actually, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't.
It was like Bohemian Rhapsody, where you can tell that the producers needed every single bandmate's reaction to a thing, like within a given line of dialogue. Like we couldn't just see someone give a line of dialogue, or we couldn't just hear one person receive a line of dialogue. We had to see everyone's fucking reaction to everything all the time whenever every member of Queen was in a room in Bohemian Rhapsody. And that's how Black Adam feels. It felt like live TV editing. There's an action scene with the kid who I don't know why the fuck this kid was in this movie. Like the character and the actor. Don't know why both of them were in this movie. Waste of time, waste of space. But the kid, he has the crown or whatever, and the guy who plays Jafar from Aladdin is fucking chasing him. And there's like this bit where he's using a zip line. I don't know if you remember that part. And the cuts are so bad. They couldn't let the stunt just be the stunt. They had to cut to the kid sliding and then the people's reactions and whatever everyone else was doing. And then they cut back to the kids still sliding, and they did it over and over again. It's like watching a Michael Bay movie almost. Ambulance notwithstanding, that movie rules. And there's a scene with Hawkman and Dr. Fate in the second act turning point where they're having, you know, their moment to themselves and they're having like a serious scene. And the editing is fucking atrocious. I think Hawkman was like talking and we cut from Hawkman to Dr. Fate back to Hawkman, back to Dr. Fate, back to Hawkman before his mini monologue or 2 lines of dialogue were fucking over. And I'm like, why can't I just watch an actor act? If you have these paper thin characters, why can't you just let the actors give the characters the life that they need? Because that's what the actors are there to do. There's so many characters in this film and they don't have a whole lot of time to convince you that these are real people. Not like, you know, literally real, but like to suspend your disbelief. Like that's what the actor is there to do. Like it didn't feel genuine. Was the acting that bad that we had to cut around it that much? Probably not. Aldis Hodge is a fucking talented actor. Pierce Brosnan, I mean, his talent you don't really need to talk about. Quintessa Swindell is a good actor. I just saw her in fucking Master Gardener, which I reviewed. It's on the channel. And Noah's Centineo, he's a person, but it's, you know, there's a lot of talented actors in the movie, you know? So why can't I just watch them act? What is the problem? That's it. I just want to see the actors act, if that's fucking too much to ask from a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
There are a lot of tone issues in this film. I don't know if you remember the uncle who's fucking obnoxious.
The comic relief.
Hey, have you heard this song? You know this song, Baby Come Back. You know that song.
Yeah, I clapped when I heard that song, actually, because I know it.
Just really obnoxious. Like there was like serious things happening and he would just appear and be like, nope, we can't have real emotions here. Laugh, please. One quick thing. When you walked out of this movie, what did you feel?
I kind of felt tired because the post-credit scene didn't really hit for me, and that's the last thing I was left with. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I guess everybody else loved it because they were all happy and stuff about Superman being in the movie.
Yeah, I just felt numb, and not in a positive way.
You saw it IMAX, so definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen movies in IMAX before and I felt great. Like watching Top Gun Maverick. I mean, it's about things that I disagree with politically and it's stupid and it is a genuinely well-made movie. And I
Yeah.
saw that in IMAX and I walked out of it. I was like, holy fuck, I need to see that again. And I saw it 3 times in theaters. 3 fucking times in 3 different formats. That movie is so cool. And this movie was nonsense. And yeah.
This movie had a $200 million budget, by the way.
And since we're talking about this, the CGI is awful for the flashbacks. Oh my.
Oh yeah, his head on that little body.
Yes. It was like Chris Evans and fucking Captain America. Like you said, he watched
Yeah.
superhero movies from the last 10 years and was like, I can do that.
I can do it.
The kids in this movie are really bad. Really bad. The kid who plays the girl's son, what's his name?
Amon Thomas.
His character, first of all, and that's the main issue with his performance, is his character. Because if your character's not giving you a whole lot, there's not a whole lot you can do. But as a child, he's just there as a MacGuffin. There's so many MacGuffins in this movie, Glenn. There's so many. Why are there so many? We have the crown. We have this child. The Ethereum is a MacGuffin. But this kid plays such a large part in the movie. Like, yeah, these movies are made for kids, but this movie is pretending to be like a badass adult film. And so the tone issue of trying to make this for kids and the stupid comedic relief and all that shit, it really ruins the experience that The Rock is trying to sell this movie as. And the part where they had to like save him because Jafar fucking kidnapped him or something, it was so, I was like, why is this in this movie? This is a Black Adam movie. What are we doing? Why can't the film just play on the strength of the characters and the IP that they have at play? Can't they create an interesting dynamic where the characters have to do something in reaction to each other instead of dealing with some nothing child saving bullshit? Why are we saving the cat an hour and 30 minutes into the movie? What are we doing? Also, the kid's character himself kind of fucking bugged me. Like, he is so politically aware, this kid, but also he has posters of Batman and Superman in his fucking room. Why do you have posters
Yeah,
of
right?
Batman and Superman in your room? Aren't you supposed to be anti-imperialist? Superman is literally an American icon, and Batman's a fucking billionaire. I mean, you don't know Batman's a billionaire, sorry. But if you're that smart, you can imagine that, you know, how someone with no powers is getting around, because it's not like Batman's a fucking mystery anymore.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
The narration at the beginning is awful. It's useless. There's no point. I think it comes back at the end. But like, if you have to start off your superhero movie with narration explaining the world, you fucking fucked up. Guardians of the Galaxy didn't have to do that. And that movie was the first space-centric film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they didn't have to do it. Sorry, we brought up Marvel in a DC movie review. Sorry. I won't do it again.
We're Marvel hogs. We're only fans of Marvel.
True.
This movie felt like an MCU movie, to be honest, too. It felt like DC's attempt to make something MCU-esque.
Yeah, of course. Because he saw the movies, like you said. Back to your thesis. Yeah, the action, nauseating. The CGI looks bad.
Gross, yeah, everything was gross.
There was moments in there that were cool, right?
I'm trying to think what stood out. The flying bike scene was okay. The first scene when he was murdering all the people in the desert was alright.
I think that scene was fine. I didn't like the bike scene. I thought that sequence was fucking
Nauseating?
awful to look at. Yeah, it was too much. Not enough geography being established.
Kahndaq kind of feels more alive than Wakanda, to be honest, so there's that.
Yeah, there were sets. So that you win, Black Adam. Is there anything else to say about the action, though? It's just sort of generic to me.
Yeah, it's nothing really. It's just whatever. Nothing stands out really.
I have one more gripe, and then I'm good to go.
Go for it.
The music is bad, okay? There are some memorable moments in there. Not even memorable. There are some standout moments that, you know, I'm not going to remember the score, but I remember I was like, oh, cool, there's a score here. But then the music never turns off. The music is always playing in this movie, and I want to know why. Because going back to the scene with Hawkman and Dr. Fate, this is supposed to be an important scene, and they treat it like shit. The editing in it is bad, which doesn't give the performances anything to do. And then the music itself is still there for some reason. The music is just playing, and I'm like, why can't we just have this silent moment between two friends? Are you afraid the audience will get bored if there's no music playing at any moment? And there's moments like that throughout, and this film is just generic. I don't care for it. I didn't like it.
Will you watch it ever again?
Probably one more time, but not like on purpose. It might be for content, but
Will it be for, yeah, I was going to say for
if
the
anything,
channel.
it'll be for content, but on purpose, nah, I ain't watching Black Adam again.
If there's a Black Adam 2 or a Black Adam v Superman, then we will watch it. I got you guys, don't worry. I had popcorn during this movie, and that was kind of good. That was like my most memorable thing from this movie.
My most memorable thing from this movie is that there was someone behind me who just kept hitting my seat with their foot. And then when I looked to my left at my armrest, at the very end of the armrest.
Was it a mouse?
No, there was someone's foot with their, not
Okay.
even with their shoes, with their fucking socks out at the edge of my armrest. I'm like, why
That's
do fucking
gross.
hogs act like this? Like the fucking theater is their house. Going back to Soups. You people are weird. Be normal. Be normal. 3 out of 10.
I'm at a 4.
Cool.
I'm over superhero movies. Let's talk about other movies now until our next superhero commentary.
There's still going to be more New York Film Festival reviews. I got a lot more. I just got really tired after watching Black Adam, and I needed to, massage my brain because that was really exhausting. Superhero movies are a cancer.
I'm over superhero stuff. It's tiring. We have one next month, though. The big one next month.
If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you agree or disagree, tell us in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share with your friends. Do all the things.
Matrix videos coming soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
You have to get past the Avengers and Marvel shit at some point, okay? Other f***ing people make movies.